Hey everyone, Nick here and welcome back to Gamerjoob, and welcome back to our Poppy Playtime character concept series. So for the finale for this chapter, we've created the characters known as the Darklings. So we'll go into their backstory, location, gameplay mechanics, and all that good stuff as well. But before we do any of that, do be sure to leave a like and subscribe to Gamerjoob as it helps out a lot and it's greatly appreciated. But alrighty, with that all out of the way, let's get to the character concept of the Darklings. So, previously in our Poppy Playtime character concept series, our main protagonists has found themselves down in the depths below Melody Manor. Down in this dark cave-like area, the player has encountered a mysterious type of enemy known as the Darklings. They've only seen these creatures' faces as they peer out of the darkness. These little Darklings lurk around in this underground area and rebuild any disposed toys that are thrown down here. But the creations that they make are beyond twisted and evil. As of yet, the player has no idea what these Darkling creatures actually look like. But before they know it, these mysterious little enemies will finally reveal their true identity. But how on earth did these creepy little creatures get down here in the first place? Well, that all started when the company needed to destroy vital evidence. Way back when Dr. Harley Sawyer first began the Bigger Bodies initiative, things weren't exactly going to plan. There were many failed attempts and subjects that didn't survive the trials. The same goes for Dr. Bailey's SM-27 trials as well. But what were they to do with all the bodies of these failed toys they no longer needed? In order to hide all evidence of what they were working on, there was only one solution. Playtime Co. began using industrial corrosive acid to melt down all these plastic toy failures and completely destroy all evidence of their experiments. Each toy dissolved into the acid and melded together to form a dark viscous liquid. This liquid contained everything from all these toys, including their essence, DNA, and even what some would call their soul. But when all was said and done, this liquid would then be stored away in barrels and hidden underneath Melody Manor. These barrels of dark liquid would stay here undisturbed for some time. But where most of the workers saw just a useless barrel of dark slime, someone else saw a great potential. The prototype would use this dark ooze to their advantage and create something they could use and control. And eventually they gave rise to what would now be known as the Darklings. These sinister looking creatures formed from the puddles of liquefied toys and became something much darker. They took on many different shapes and sizes. Each one of them shared similar features with their dark hollow eyes, creepy twisted teeth, and exposed muscle fibers on each of their limbs. These dark little creatures only existed for one purpose. They were to rebuild all failed toys and ensure any other toys would never be wasted again. But the Darklings had one flaw. They couldn't reach the surface due to the light being harmful to their bodies. So they instead stay down underground and wait for the toy parts to enter their domain. But now that the player is down here with them, the Darklings have another plan. These twisted creatures see them as a failed toy, and all they want to do is rip them limb from limb and rebuild the player even better than they are now. But the player seems to have found the way out of this cave system. It looks like there's a minecart system and track that leads to the surface. In fact, this is how the workers transported the barrels of dark liquid down here in the first place. They've located a minecart, but they need to supply power to the control panel in order to ride the cart to the surface. So the player sets out and searches around for the generator to supply power. But with all these Darkling creatures lurking around, that task won't be so easy. More and more these little creatures are showing up and they are starting to attack the player. Every time they emerge from the shadows, the player can fend them off with the orange grab hand. When the flare lights up the darkness, all the Darklings seem to scatter. But the flares aren't doing any damage. They don't stay lit long enough to burn their bodies with the searing light. The bigger Darkling creatures can even withstand a number of shots from the flares. But luckily the player has found a new type of ammo for the orange grab hand. And this ammo is known as glow darts. These darts hold a highly luminescent glow stick liquid that splats onto the walls. When fired, they can light up an area for at least 12 hours. So when the player uses these glow darts on the Darklings, the glowing liquid will burn and destroy their bodies. but they need to use them carefully because they only have a limited amount of darts. So while searching around and destroying any Darklings they see, the player finally locates the generator. They activate the power and wait for it to charge up. In this gameplay segment, the Darklings will try to destroy the generator whilst it's charging up, and the player would need to defend it by fending off all these creepy little creatures. The player could use the flares to fend off the smaller Darklings, and then use the glow darts on the larger enemies. Eventually the generator powers up and the control panel for the minecart is ready to go. So the player rushes back towards it to ride their way out of here and escape these evil little creatures. They hop inside the cart and prepare to get out of here. The only thing is, they can't push the button whilst in the cart. But their unknown saviour comes to the rescue once again. It seems that whoever controlled the metal gate with Sluffangle also remotely activated the control panel as well. The minecart starts moving towards the surface and the player needs to hold on. But the Darklings weren't going to let them escape so easily. All the spider Darklings start crawling on the walls and chase the player. In this final segment, the player needs to fend them all off and stop these Darkling spiders from derailing the minecart. As they move towards the surface, they need to fire as many flares and glow darts as they can. Eventually, after desperately defending the minecart, they finally reach the surface. The light from the upper surface level causes the Darkling spiders to sizzle away and burn. The others scurry back down to the dark cave with all the others. Finally, the player has escaped from Melody Manor and all of its evil dark secrets. They aren't sure where they are now in the factory. All they do know is that they were out of the darkness for the time being. Now they continue on their mission in order to save all the orphans and defeat the prototype. But who else knows what is in store for our player and whatever this factory has waiting for them next? It's unknown for now, and I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So I think that the Darklings are definitely an interesting addition to our roster of characters. Their creepy design is quite off-putting, and they would pose quite the challenge for the player. With the Darklings lurking around every corner, the player would need to be on high alert. Thankfully, the player was able to light the darkness around them and fend off these evil creatures. But as we all know, there's always something lurking in the shadows here at Playtime Co. Alrighty everyone, that's all we have for today's video. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting, and subscribing, as it helps a lot and it's greatly appreciated. As always, do be sure to let us know what you thought of the Darklings, and also what you thought of this chapter as a whole as well. We also just want to thank each and every one of you for watching this chapter, and we all hope you enjoyed as well. Also, a very big thank you to all of our Gamerjoob members who help support the channel. If you'd like to be a Gamerjoob member, then do be sure to click the link down below or the join button. But alrighty everyone, until our next Poppy Playtime character concept chapter, I'll catch you later, bye.